In just over a week, we're going to get the first reveal for Modern Warfare 2, or the first proper reveal. We've had some teaser trailers already. But on June 8th, they're holding some kind of event to reveal the game. We don't know what we're going to get. It could be like just a CGI trailer, it could be a campaign mission, it could just be a multiplayer. I'm hoping it's going to cover everything. So in this video, I thought it'd be fun to just speculate on some of the things I want to see from Modern Warfare 2. Now in this, I'm not going to talk about Warzone or Warzone 2, and I'm not going to talk about leaks or anything like that. I'm just going to have some fun talking about the things that I want to see. Let me know in the comments, what do you want to see from Modern Warfare 2? What would you like them to change? What would you like them to keep the same? And let me know what you think of my ideas. So let's get started. For the whole campaign, I'd love it if they had co-op. We know that this is going to be about Task Force 141. The little teaser things have shown off all of the different members of Task Force 141. So it'd be really cool if you could play through the campaign with maybe like up to 4 of your friends, well, up to 4 people in total, and then have each person doing a slightly different job on the campaign missions. In Modern Warfare 2019, we had a couple of missions that were a little bit more open, so you could kind of choose what order to do the objectives. Imagine if like loads of the campaign missions were like this, and you could maybe have one person just go and take up a sniping position, do some Overwatch, one person could maybe control a drone feed or something like that, and have people moving around. Imagine something like Clean House, where every person in it is a player. I think that could be really, really good fun. Obviously, they'd make it so the AI could control them if you just want to play through it single player, but I think that would add a lot more replayability to the campaign, and it would just be exciting. Secondly, I'd like them to focus on making the campaign a bit more gimmicky. And what I mean by that is, when you think of the sort of Modern Warfare missions that people really love and people remember, they are missions like Clean House or All Giddied Up, or that one where you've got the AC-130 and you're sort of like providing Overwatch with that. Those missions are really fun because they're so different from the normal Call of Duty formula. For my third point, I'd like them to make the main campaign characters just a bit more interesting, maybe give them some flaws. All of Task Force 141 are just basically the same super soldiers who can do absolutely everything, and then they have like one particular quirk, like Price is old and experienced, Soap is kind of new on the team, Ghost is mysterious, but they're all equally capable and equally amazing at doing absolutely everything. They don't seem to have any flaws. It would be much more interesting if there were situations where the characters failed, situations where things went spectacularly badly for them because of something they did wrong. A lot of you have played Spec Ops: The Line. I've talked about it on stream quite a lot. It's an amazing game, and it looks a lot at kind of not just like warfare in general, but warfare in video games, and how you have these kind of superhero style characters. I think it could take a page out of that book and just sort of look at the kind of ethical problems of some of the things that Price does, for example, and people challenging him on things like that. I know maybe the Black Ops games have dealt with like stuff like that a little bit more, with characters having problems. But I'd just like it if there was a little bit more depth to Modern Warfare, rather than like, there's evil people doing very evil things, we're going to have to do slightly evil things in order to stop them, but then we power through like action heroes and save the day. It would be nice if there was a little bit more depth to it than that. So my first one for multiplayer, my fourth point overall, is to bring Gunfight back. I thought Gunfight was absolutely spectacular. It's probably the multiplayer mode I spent the most time with in Modern Warfare 2019. It's super fun. The tournaments were really, really good fun. The matches are really quick, which I like, but there's a lot of kind of strategy to them and learning the maps. They kept on supporting it by bringing out new maps and actually adding Easter eggs closed, which was really cool. But yeah, I really loved Gunfight, and I strongly hope that they bring that back. The fifth one is that I want there to be less guns and attachments. I think the Call of Duty games for quite a while now have really focused on this idea of having as many guns as possible. So they bring back all of the guns that they think might be people's favourites, and then they add on a bunch of new guns or a bunch of weird guns. And you end up in a situation where the casual normal player doesn't really understand the differences between the vast majority of the guns. I'd really like it if they massively cut this back. So, you know, literally there was like 3 different guns in each category. So 3 SMGs, 3 assault rifles, 3 sniper rifles or marksman rifles, 3 shotguns, something like that. So it was massively, massively cut back, but then each one was dramatically different from the others. I know that some people argue, well, there's lots of guns that are very similar in real life, and Call of Duty does kind of try to do something to do with real life, but I don't think that's a decent excuse. I think they should focus on the gameplay. It would be a lot more fun if, at launch, you could spend a bit of time with each gun and really learn each one without having to sort of learn you know, 30 different guns. And then also when you're doing the camo challenges and stuff like that, it would feel a lot more achievable if you didn't have to grind out loads of guns that are exactly the same as each other. Like, I think that would make it more fun. Obviously, as seasons go on, they will add more guns, like that's inevitable, but if they start with a far smaller sort of spread of guns, then that'll make it manageable for the rest of the year, or 2 years if the next Black Ops is going to be 2 years away. Number 6 is something I'm sure lots of people won't agree with me on, but I'd love it personally if they remove drop shotting and bunny hopping and slide cancelling and all of those silly little sort of gamified things that are ways that you can move that don't make any sense, and also make it so there's this huge skill gap between people that can do these little gimmicky things and the people that can't. Personally, as someone that doesn't like doing those kind of things, I find it very difficult to do it. I don't think about doing it in time, and I don't find it particularly fun when I have tried doing it. I would prefer to not have that stuff in the game at all, personally. I'd like it if they sort of grounded it a little bit more. Like, if they want to go full on like exo movement and stuff, I'm all behind that. I think that's fun, that changes things up a lot. Or if they want to make it kind of a bit more realistic in terms of movement, I'm all for that. But at the moment, we've got this kind of in-between ground where it's like a lot of the movement is kind of realistic if you're playing it normally, but then there's these random things you can do that feel a bit like exploits that you can take advantage of. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'd like to see those things gone. And then the 7th one is I'd like to see party games from day one. One of the things that's killed Vanguard multiplayer for me is that there's no party games. Even in custom games, you can't set up something like one in the chamber or gun game. I love those things, I love playing them with my community, and I really want to see them come back. Now, for the last section, I want to talk about Spec Ops. Spec Ops was one of my favourite modes from the old Modern Warfare games, and then Modern Warfare 2019 did a terrible job of it. Like, it was just bad. The missions took absolutely ages. You were just grinding against waves of more and more difficult enemies, but it wasn't like interesting to fight against them. It was just like, again, trying to find exploits and things like that that would keep you alive. So whether it was keeping one person back for everyone to respawn on them, or finding places where the enemy AI couldn't track you very easily, it was just a massive pain, and it wasn't that much fun. I want to see them go back to the old Spec Ops missions. So basically having solo and duo missions with star ratings and leaderboards. So you can hop into something, play it with a friend, and then it'll tell you whether you got 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, try to get 3 star on everything, and then there could be a leaderboard for things like timers for the ones where that makes sense, or maybe score for the other ones, just to give it a bit more replayability. Then for my next point on Spec Ops, I would like all of those missions to be very short. Ideally, there'd be some that were less than 5 minutes, like really quick ones that you could try and perfect. So think of that, is it called Mile High Club or 1 Mile High, something like that, the one on the plane, where you had to rush through it and you had like 2 minutes to do it or something like that. That's really good fun because you can literally learn every enemy, you can learn every route, you can try different things out, reset it really quickly, and just have go after go after go at it, which I really, really enjoy. I think they should limit it to like 10 minutes maybe at the most, so you can go through each one and just keep on trying to get the best time possible. And then finally for Spec Ops, I'd like to see them keeping it going with DLC, maybe even holding some back. So say if they made like 12 Spec Ops missions, if they held those back at the beginning and then released one every fortnight, so over like, what would that be, 24 weeks, we got one mission every couple of weeks. That would be really cool. That'd give you a reason to like load up the game again, check it out, like get your friends back together, do that, and then maybe you'd head into multiplayer and stuff. I think that would be really fun. So maybe launch with like just 3 or 4 of these Spec Ops missions that people would get really, really good at, and then just keep launching them like one at a time. I think would be really awesome. So thanks for listening. Let me know what you hope to see in this in the comments below, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.